Again, my name is CUDNIK with DreamCarXchange, and this car here is coming up for auction. It is a pretty rare Porsche. It is a 1977 Carrera 3-liter. Okay, so this car actually was never made for the States. Okay, so they made about 2,500 or so coupes and 1,123 Targas. But what makes it really special is it has a Sportomatic transmission. Okay, so this is Porsche's first attempt at an automatic transmission way back in the 70s. As you know, probably they went to the Tiptronic starting in the 90s, and then finally it started in 2009, the PDK, right, which is the dual clutch. But this is kind of the granddaddy to the PDK. Right? And it's believed that there were only about 18 or 19 Sportomatic Carrera 3-liters ever made. Okay, and it's one right here. Okay, so basically what a Carrera 3-liter was, they made it again 76, 77. Those 911s back then were 2.7 liter. Okay, so this is kind of the sandwich between the 911S and the SC, which came out in 1978. So the SC also had a 3-liter. They changed the body a little bit, right? A little bit more of the flares that came with it, and a bunch of other upgrades. And actually, the engine in this is basically a 3-liter that was from the 911 turbo at the time without the turbo. Because back then they were just 3-liter turbos. So this particular car, they were about 200 horsepower from the factory, 188 pound-feet of torque. And again, what makes this one super cool is Sportomatic. All right, so this one obviously is finished in a kind of classic silver paint. Has been repainted in the past. Chin spoiler, upgraded 16-inch Fuchs, so it's 16 by 7s in the front and 16 by 8s in the rear. Also has a bunch of suspension work to it, because actually the two previous owners did a lot of autocross in it. So it has bigger sway bars, bigger torsion bar, turbo tie rods, things like that. But you know, I driven the car and it feels pretty good, actually nice and tight on the street, but not too tight to be uncomfortable. And again, classic 911 Targa. The big Targa bar here, actually in really good shape. And again, what makes this particular car, you don't see this badge too often here, this Carrera 3-liter. So, pretty cool. All right, so let's take a look at the interior, and to me, it just screams 80s to me, which is fantastic. So, the Recaro seats, velour Recaro seats with the net headrests. I mean, I'm thinking Knight Rider all along here, right? But pretty good shape. This was done by the previous owner, carried on to the back as well. Original seats are not available, so this is what you see is what you get with this. But they're pretty comfortable, and again, I think it's a kind of cool little touch to it. Taking a seat in here, so it's got a aftermarket steering wheel, nice and small diameter, which is pretty neat. And as I mentioned earlier, the AC vents. So there's some AC vents here, there's some underneath the dash here as well, but everything else looks pretty quintessential 911, with the exception of this, right? So again, a rare car being even more rare, this has hand controls for drivers that need them. Now, they're fully functional. You can drive the car right now, which I have with them there, but without using it, perfectly fine. And they can also be easily removed. So kind of best of all worlds here. You can use it, you can take it out, you can leave it as it is. The other thing is, this particular car came originally in kilometers. So here's the original odometer and speedometer, which actually had some markings for miles per hour on top of it. So these are just little vinyl things here. But it shows 154,000 kilometers, and the current speedometer that's in there, and odometer, shows about 20,000 total. Next thing we're going to do is just take a quick peek at the Targa top with it on, and then you can see the inside of it as well, but it's overall in good shape. All right, so as you can see, the Targa's in pretty good shape here. The inside, pretty good. And then the outside, and we'll throw it on the car real quick so you can see what it looks like with the top on. Okay, so here we go for a drive in the Sportomatic. So this is actually my first time in one of these. And right now we're in first gear. And in order to shift to the next gear, all you have to do is put your hand on the shift lever. That puts it into neutral. And then shift it to the next gear. We're now in second. So about to go into third, off the throttle, shift into third, back on the throttle. And I have to say, it is much smoother than I anticipated. Quite impressive for 1970s technology. All right, folks, so just to wrap up this ultra rare Porsche, again, 1977 911 Carrera 3-liter with a Sportomatic transmission. One thing I did not mention earlier is that this particular car had a 4-speed Sportomatic installed when, from the factory, they were 3-speed. So the 3-speed comes with the car, but the 4-speed is currently in the car at the moment. And what the other thing is, this car has a ton of history that comes with it. So there's a huge folder here, as you can see, of all invoices. I mean, some of these are, you know, handwritten way back to the 90s with all the work that's been done on this. So it really drives great. Engine was rebuilt way back in the 90s, so it pulls really strong, and overall I think it shows really well. And you know, again, really rare car. You can check it out on DreamCarXchange. You can see the full listing, description, pictures, and of course your ability to bid on it to make it yours. So thanks a lot, and go check it out.